That's a very good morning to you. It is expected to wrap up. Maybe just a very quick idea as to what's come out of this that we would understand as ordinary South Africans.
Well, yes, good morning to you, Viveka. The business end of this conference has drawn to a close. The Johannesburg Declaration has been adopted by the 5 Brics members, and it's a call for cooperation in the global economic system that is facing quote-unquote unprecedented challenges to multilateralism. To drill that down, they're very worried about a new stage that the global economy is seemingly entering into with the US, which remains the world's biggest economy, pursuing protectionist policies when it comes to trade and putting up trade barriers to various countries that want to trade with it. And essentially what the BRICS countries are hoping for is that not only its member states but other countries that are hoping to use multilateralism to grow and develop will pursue economic policies that have become the norm since the end of World War II. And of course also calling on the World Trade Organization to protect the status quo when it comes to trading between nations. So, Viveka, I wouldn't say that they're exactly ringing the alarm bell just yet, but a very sober assessment of how things stand in the global economy and hopes that perhaps not only these 5 BRICS member states, but also any potential partners will be able to engage. We must remind ourselves that there were a number of African guests invited by President Cyril Ramaphosa, the likes of Rwanda, Ethiopia and others, and of course also other countries as well. We managed to catch up with the Prime Minister of Jamaica yesterday, Andrew Holness, and he said that it's a chance for various member states of the international economy to engage with potential partners that are non-traditional. So BRICS, you may have thought, is not necessarily as important as analysts would lead you to believe. But as we enter into a new phase of the global economy with Donald Trump at the helm of the world's biggest economy, this could prove to be a very important geopolitical formation.
President Ramaphosa's first summit as president, Nickolaus, and I'd like to know what's the feeling from what you've gathered. I mean, knowing that we are talking trade, we're talking investment, sustainable development, and we're talking the economy. As a businessman, and we know he's been involved, yes, as a deputy in past summits, we know he's been involved standing behind or next to former President Jacob Zuma, but as a businessman, what's the feeling out there? Has he brought something different to this, which is significant, the 10th summit? The 10th meeting of these groups?
Indeed, it is the 10th BRICS Summit. We last held it in Durban in 2013 when we were playing hosts, when indeed President Jacob Zuma was still large and in charge. Cyril Ramaphosa, this is his first chance on the international stage to strut his stuff as the South African president, and one gets the feeling that there's this, I don't want to call it an air of respectability, but an air of calm among a lot of the business folk that I've been talking to, the various economists, the analysts. By no stretch of the imagination is South Africa's economy out of the woods, but there is a feeling that with Cyril Ramaphosa at the helm, there will be a lot more interest in terms of bilateral and multilateral trade. And we've seen this already with that state visit that happened very briefly with the Chinese just before the BRICS Summit kicked off, with over $14 billion worth of investment promises. We've also got a bilateral agreement now with Russia, and I'm told that during the course of the day, it's mostly going to be a closed session for the majority of it. You will have this interaction between the various heads of state. Brazil's Michel Temer, I'm told, will also be engaging with President Cyril Ramaphosa alongside the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So we'll wait to see what will come out during the day. But from a media point of view, we must be honest, it's mostly going to be a closed session. So we'll have to once again pore over that Johannesburg Declaration and look for the meaning in between the lines, Viveka, and see if it moves beyond a call for the protection of multilateralism in a decidedly in a decidedly different world than we were faced with just a decade ago.
Okay.